Welcome back, everybody. We are going to do the amulets tier list today, but this time, once again, though, still for hardcore mode. So not for regular play, but for hardcore mode. I feel like after you've played Remnant for like enough, and you've gotten through all the levels, and you've gotten to Apocalypse, and you're looking for more hardcore mode, it is. This game is so much fun when there's so much to risk, right? But with that being said, I've played hardcore mode hundreds of times. I've died 100 times. There's really not a death I don't think I haven't experienced. With that being said, I've basically used every amulet, or haven't. I'll show you why. Um, in my runs, so I've come across them. I've come across every amulet at some point. I see some as the toppest of tiers. If I get it, beautiful, blessed day. And there's some that are very useful. There are some that when I get it, I'm like, you know what? I could use it, but if it has something else to go with it, another ring, another class, for example, another gun. There's some that you'll get and you're like, well, I'll use it unless something comes out a little better later on. Or if I have money, I'll spend it on something else, right? But if I get it, I'll use it. There are some that I just never use personally. I'm going to say this is my personal preference section. I don't see value. I see value, not for me. And then there's others, never use it, terrible value, you shouldn't use it, no value unless you're trying to just straight style on the competition. Now, same as the rings tier list, we have positives and negatives. This is how I rate them. I like survivability, I like utility. Give me health, give me shields, give me damage reduction, give me reload times, give me damage buffs, give me movement buffs, give me all that stuff. I'm not a fan of like crit damage, crit range, right? Or more damage or that kind of stuff. I'll take more accuracy, higher accuracy over being able to get 10 more crit percent chance with 15% more crit damage. I will also take into account how easy is it to attain it with risk management. Do I find it on the main quest? Do I have to branch off? How dangerous is that branch? And do I have to buy it from the shop? Some of them are very hard to get. Some of them are very easy to get. All that takes, all of that is taken into account. I don't mind going into a dungeon or two to search for a free bluey or free purple within the first like 5 to 10% of the dungeon. I also don't mind going into a dungeon to get the best amulet in the game if I have it in my game. We're going to go over that. Let's get to it. I think just talking about it and showing y'all is the best way to get this done. We're going to go ahead and look at it. Start with A, move to Z, whatever's left, right? We are also going to duplicate this tab. That way we can go down. The newest amulets are always put at the bottom. So the last one right here, as you see, was the weightless weight, TUVW, but then it goes back to DGIG. So they're not even ordered properly. So we'll get there when we get there. All right, start off with the abrasive whetstone. Once again, when attacking a bleeding enemy, crit chance is increased, crit damage is increased. I never use it, but I see its value. If you have the handler, if you have pipe bombs, even though pipe bombs are expensive, they should really turn down the cost of a pipe bomb to like $250. It would be much more useful. We could utilize it. It would add more variety to play styles. I just think that they're overpriced compared to an ammo box. And I just don't like bleed. Next one is Ankh of Power. Now this one, you might say, this is it. Oh, this one has to be very useful, right? It has to be very useful. But understand, you get the Ankh of Power right before you get Cancer. That's Cancer. That's the last siege, the Root Earth siege, which it's pretty hard, but it's not the hardest one in my opinion. Then you fight Venom and Annihilation. You get 4 instances in which you can use it, and those are very high risk fights. You need mitigation on, like you need what's it? You need danger mitigation, death mitigation, all of that. This just provides straight power. So I personally never use it. but it is most certainly the highest of the highest values in this category. So if you use it, that is all. Go for it. Love to see it. Love the confidence. Get it done. But me, hardcore apocalypse, I just can't see myself like wasting the slot for increased damage. My philosophy is I'm gonna stay alive. I'm gonna pump out that damage. Eventually, it might take me 15 more bullets to get that additional 15%, but I'm gonna do it. I just gotta survive. All right, let's go to this one. This is the Birthright of the Lost. On perfect dodge, apply exposed and receive up to 24% additional damage from all sources. So it's combination, beautiful. You can use it anywhere. This is a top tier amulet. 24%. Guys, the name of the game with hardcore mode is learning how to perfect dodge. It can be used on most bosses. There are some bosses where it's really hard to get that perfect dodge, so you could use something else, but most bosses require a perfect dodge, and all of them in the end require a perfect dodge. With that being said, 24%, that's way more than the 15% that the Ankh gives you. And it will proc if you dodge, and you're always dodging. Next up, the Brewmaster's Cork. This one surprised me on my medic run that I uploaded. I didn't even know what this was when I got it. Then I looked at it and I was like, increases active concoctions by 2. Wait a second. That means I can have 3 concoctions? Are you serious? Guys, the concoctions, I get 3 concoctions. When I did this, I got 3 concoctions, and I'm going to show you what they were. And this is going to prove to you why I put this where it is in the tier list. The concoctions that I get, if it loads, Cloudflare has been having some issues lately, and that would also go with the Fextra Life website, which runs through Cloudflare. I don't think it's loading. Okay, so I get one where you get 25 health, which is which is like Mudtooth's tonic. I'm not gonna remember the names. There's one that gives you 25% health, or 25 flat health. There's one that gives you 6.6% health with 6.6% movement with 6.6% stamina, and there's another one that gives you health regen. So with just those 3 concoctions, you've got more health, more stamina, more movement, and health regen. That's everything that you need to survive hardcore mode. That is a top tier, top 3, without a doubt, in the game. It's a top 3 amulet. If you get it, concoctions are very good in this game. They're very good. You can take out a ring and put in another one, or give yourself more health. It will prevent you from getting one-shotted. It provides sustainability, and it gives you stamina, which is your second best resource in this game to stay alive. And with that being said, the next amulet that we see here is the Broken Stopwatch, which gives you increased stamina regen by 25, and it reduces stamina cost by 50. If I get to the end, I put this on against Venom every single time. Sometimes, when I have nothing else, and I have money to spend, I'll buy the Broken Pocket Watch just because it showed up. Because stamina is the blood of your character. It is your lifeline. When you have no stamina, you get hit. That's that simple. This guarantees you always have stamina. Beautiful, beautiful top tier amulet. This one, never use. This is Butcher's Fetish. I don't care about crit damage, same thing as this one, the Abrasive Whetstone. However, to proc it, you must hit a charged melee attack. So that is not nearly as useful as this one, which can use the dog or pipe bombs, or you could also use a charged melee attack to apply bleed. That would work for this one as well. The chain of amplification is an interesting one. It's useful, but it's very useful, but only in combination with a status effect build. So like the Ritualist, Spark Fire, Toxic Release Valve, anything. I'm going to do Pipe Bombs, and I'll do the Nebulous Cloud Hammer. There's only a few things in this game. There's only like 5 to 6 things I can think of that provide that status buff for you, other than like a Hot Shot mod, right? But it's very specific in combination, but it gives you a 20% damage boost to all damage dealt, not just status effects, which is great. You apply a status effect, and guess what? It gets more damage now because of it. Let's look at the Cleansing Stone next. Now, this is an injectable in low sum. It's like the Crow event or something like that. Every time I've ever done this event, I've been hounded by elites, and I have died. Like the first couple times I did it, I just died. It wasn't worth it. I've done it since then. I've been able to survive, but it never feels safe. It feels like I'm doing a lot of extra. I'm risking a lot for very little, so that way I can reduce status effects, whatever it is. Their times I can cleanse it with a relic use. So you don't need you get a bunch of relics. There are rings out there that provide like very similar effects that you can just buy from casts. This one to me, I don't even see its value of getting it. So we're gonna move on. Core booster is when you go to the what you call it, the custodian. There's a spot down there, a little hidden. Find it. If you put the memory cores in, you'll get it. Sometimes you only have to put one memory core in. It pops up. You get it. It provides increased weak spot damage by 50% after killing an enemy. I never use it. I can see its value, though. It's kind of free. You have to do a side event dungeon. I've used it when nothing else. Having increased weak spot damage by 50% after killing an enemy is kind of a big deal, especially against some bosses where it's very easy to get an ads kill, or like an elite pops up and you just killed a bunch of other enemies and you're mowing it down faster. There is value to that. I did say that I have used it before if there's nothing else present, and it's basically it should be moved up to that tier because it is true. Daredevil's Charm. You have to take off armor in order to get it to do more damage. You're giving up defense and survivability for offense. Never use it. I skipped this one. I apologize. This one can be found in the main quest line right before you get to the Awakened King, the one true king. There's 3 guys hanging up. Bang, bang, bang. Shoot, shoot, shoot. It drops. You pick it up. Very interesting. It brings your total relic charges down to 1. So you don't have to ever worry about spending money on Simulacrum anymore or Luminite. But when you consume a relic, all damage is increased by 20%, and you then recharge it after 30%. Infinite relics, but while you use it, increase damage. But while you have a relic, you do increase damage. That's great. Oh, you know what? Something else I forgot to mention about the Brewmaster is that you get damage mitigation, by the way. So when you have 3 concoctions, that's 6% damage mitigation on top of it. Health, stamina, damage mitigation, movement speed, health regen, all of it. Amazing. Anyways, cost of betrayal. I think this is a very, very, very useful relic. Or amulet. I apologize. Amulet. Very useful. And I'm going to consider its placement here as the gatekeeper currently to the top tier amulets. And I might even put it into top tier because I think it is that good. What could hold it back is the 20% damage increase that you take. That really is the deciding factor here. By consuming a relic, I gain 20% extra damage, which means if you make a mistake after you consume the relic within 30 seconds, you will basically die in Apocalypse, right? In lower modes, maybe you won't die. You can maybe sustain it with heal shots or just run away. So it's something to think about. I will place the tier list and then we can revisit the cost of betrayal, which we will then move on to the next one, which is Death's Embrace. You can be bought by this dude right here. There's something that you have to do for it. I never used it. I never used Death's Embrace. It's something I use in my main runs with, my non-hardcore runs. I think it's very good, right? You put like a little bleed build on you. You get haste and damage. Oh, well, you get haste when your health's below 50, right? But there is like there's some reason for this, right? Let's keep moving on. This one right here. This is the Death-Soaked Idol. Really easy event. You don't have to fight anything. It probably takes 2 to 3 minutes to complete. Because you just have to search the rooms and then find it and build it, essentially. And as long as there's something with a status effect near you, you gain an increase in damage, right? So if there's a bunch of enemies around you, like they're all burning, for example, in Losum, you get a 25% damage increase. So that's really nice. And if you're fighting a boss, it's really not nice because there's only a couple of them ever around you, and there's better things around. So because of that, I will use, if nothing else, but I would prefer the weak spot damage over the increased damage. Once again, it's still damage, but 50% increased weak spot against elites is more powerful to me than waiting for something to get near me that's on fire, for example. The decayed margin, never get it. It's not even worth it. Lifesteal, don't care about it. Detonation trigger, never get it. Not only do I not like it because it's explosion damage, but and you're like, oh, but it applies burning damage over 5 seconds. Yeah, that's kind of big damage. It's in the Pounding Piston event, which is one of the most dangerous events in the entire Hardcore Apocalypse runs. Go down here, you're in a small spot, and there's like 30 guys that come at you continuously. You get swiped, you're dead. For what? Explosion damage, and you're not even really getting things that explode in hardcore mode with a new character. The best thing that you'll get that's exploding damage are the parasites that you shoot. The mod damage. It's a mod. You shoot like the little aliens that come out. That, I think they count as exploding damage. That would be busted with this one, but you're gonna have to get the primogenitor, and then you're gonna have to do this, and it's just too risky. It's way too risky. It's way too specific. Don't do it. Okay, the difference engine. This is easy to come across. It's a random drop, and it's only useful if you have a shield. It gives you 20% damage and lifesteal. More useful than the one in front of it because this one requires a status effect. This one requires a shield. And if you have a shield, that's a potent combination. I love shields. Give me shields. Love them. This one, if you have it, gives you damage and lifesteal. Boom. Perfect. This one's in the chimney. Not a good event. That would be the downward spiral amulet. Don't like it. The effigy pendant, I believe, is in the exact same spot as this, which makes it, which is the cleansing amulet. I will put it right next to it because it is as equally useless to me. I don't need gray health to get damage dealt, even though I get 10% damage reduction while I have the gray health. I'm trying to stay at max health. I'm not trying to have gray health. Okay, so oh my god, Effluvium Enhancer is with the Drazir Replicator, with the Custodian, but it costs a lot. And you have to have acid damage. So really, what are you going to have that has acid damage? Maybe the new class will have it. We don't know. But nothing now really has it other than the Toxic Release Valve. And then there's like that big melee weapon that applies it. But why would I want something that only procs on a melee weapon? I wouldn't. Not useful. Next up, Emergency Switch. When you're below 50% health, there's a chance you don't consume a relic. That's, in and of itself, is terrible. As by itself. But combined with that your final relic charge will not be consumed, and you, for like, if you use it, every 60 seconds you get that proc back, you will always have a relic. And there's a chance that you will not consume one on top of it when you need it the most. There's a 1 in 3 chance. So if you have 6 relics, let's say, you're going to use probably 2 of them and not consume it, which basically means 6 is the equivalent of having 8. And then when you finally down to your last one, if you can manage your relic uses and your heal shot mods, you'll always have a relic. It's the ultimate survivability. This one is right here. I think it is less useful than this one, though, and here's why. I rarely, at this point, have to use my last relic. I feel like if you've gotten to the point where you can beat hardcore apocalypse with it, or beat hardcore APOC, you really don't ever get to your last use if you get the emergency switch. Sometimes you will. Sometimes you will. You'll get Narude, you'll get this, and then you'll fight these ridiculous aberrations one after each other, and you'll find that you're popping it. That's when it becomes absolutely busted. I think this one has more utility, which would be the, what's it called? Hold on. We just had it. That would be Birthright of the Lost. Still getting used to the names. I just think this one's more useful in terms of I've used it in more situations than this one. However, I can see that if you're newer, hardcore veteran, I would put this one in front of it. This is very debatable. Okay? My tier list, your tier list. It could be whatever. But I would respect it. Energized Neck Coil. Useful in combination with a status effect. It increases status effect damage by 25%, and it creates an explosion. The explosion is great. Put this with... Guys, if you have the Ritualist, the Sparkfire Shotgun, or the Enigma with the Archon, and you don't have an amulet, and you get to the Labyrinth, you get this every single time, and it's a beautiful, very synergistic amulet, but you have to have status effects in order to proc it. So, it is a little weak in that sense, and that's why it's the lowest of the low here. We have the Energy Diverter. Ah ha ha ha. Once again, if you have a shield, gain crit chance and damage, don't care about that at all. And you have to buy it, by the way, from the Drazier Replicator. You have to spend more resources in order to get it. For what? Damage? I don't even use it on my main runs. Alright. Escalation Protocol. Increase all damage after killing an enemy. Don't use it ever. And it's in the Imperial Gardens. And I don't do the Imperial Gardens. It's too dangerous. Okay, this one. The Full Moon Circlet. This says it's in the Imperial Gardens. I'm sorry. This one, I apologize. The Escalation Protocol is in Root Earth. I apologize on that one. Full Moon Circlet is in a hidden room during a blood moon. Very hard to get. Not useful at all. The Full Moon Circlet. So I'm just going to end it there. I was thinking about it and I was like, no, I cannot stand the Imperial Gardens. I've died there 3 times, just missing a jump. Don't ask me. Next up, we have the Gift of Euphoria. Stamina gives you crit chance. Guess what? Don't want it. And it's in the Walk of Remembrance. Very, risky side event. Keep going. Gift of Melancholy. Increases all damage dealt by 25%. I like that. When stamina is at 100%. When is your stamina ever at 100% when you're always dodging? See ya. No. It's also exclusive to the Pathway of the Fallen, which is like a maze, which is like really hard, which is like we don't want to do that. So, no. Okay. I think this one was the Gift of the Unbound, which it takes time to get this one. I believe there's you have to talk to the One True King, say you're going to kill her. You have to talk to her, say nah. You got to go back to the One True King, you kill him. You go back to Nimue, you say, hey, I killed him, and she gives you this. And you do all that just so it disables the negative effect of the burden rings, just so that you can lose 20% health per burden ring you have enabled. Terrible. Why did I do all that for something so awful? If it had just disabled the negative effects of the burden rings, it would be useful. I don't know why the devs had to add minus 20% on this. It effectively kills this amulet. It's garbage. Coming up next. By the way, I'm talking hardcore mode, right? Increase mod damage by 25%. You get activated mod. You get haste. This is cool. You throw a heal shot, which means something has happened. You need the heal shot. You probably need to reload. You probably need to move faster. Probably need to do stuff faster. It all works. Mod damage is increased. It's useful if nothing else. And I would say it's probably... And you're using mods a lot, right? So it's got more utility. And I can see its value. I would prefer the silver one, but the golden one, if I get it, why not? This is the gunfire security lanyard. You have to go to the labyrinth. You have to go past the portal. You have to get to it. You have to fight an elite. Blah, 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 blah. Just for what? Automatically reloading magazines over time? No, thank you. I'd rather have something more. No, oh, it's ultimate utility reloading. Nah, you tell me. Okay, Gunslinger's Charm. You have to look, talk to Mudtooth and ask him about his stories. Repeat about 10 stories. He'll be thankful and reward you with this. Keep playing the game until you complete the second world. Go back and he'll give and repeat the process. He'll give you this charm so you can increase your fire rate and reload speed by 20. It's completely free. All you have to do is talk to an old man and listen to his stories. So how dare you not take the time and listen to him? Okay? And if I have nothing else, I will use it. And it has reload speed and fire rate. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I love reload speed at 20%. 20% reload speed? Are you kidding me? Like, that's a lot of reload speed. Like, that's straight utility. I never used to value reload speed, but the more I played the game, I just realized how valuable it is to always have something in the magazine, just in case another phase showed up with more ads, and you can actually shoot them down before a boss can do something to you. Okay, the Hallowed Aid, really easy to get. Is it easy? Is it not? It's not as easy as my camera staying in focus, apparently. So, maybe that will be better. My goodness. We'll let it fix on its own. It's going to be blurry. With that being said, it's in Root Earth. It's the Root Earth the Root Nexus. And it gives you melee damage. It's free as like I'll use it if nothing else. I'll put it like right. I'd rather use this one because you're going to spend magazine damage on this. You're absolutely going to spend magazine damage. Firearm magazine damage. So you're going to get melee damage. So when you're like moving around, it's going to be super useful. Okay? It just will be. Next up, hyperconductor. Got to do the train event. Not useful. Not useful at all. The hyperconductor increases cooldowns, reduces mod gen. It's not useful. Okay. Where is this one? Index of the Scribe. You have to go to Laywise in order to buy it. Fine. Increases mod and skill weak spot damage. I'm going to be honest. I don't think it has value. I don't think it has value because you have to buy it. You have to go through these, what do you call them, the frogs with the pustules. And they're honestly a pain in the butt. They hit really hard for no reason. They have a lot of pros, not very few cons. And then only for mod damage and skill damage for the weak spot. No, thank you. Okay. Next up, Indignant Fetish. A random drop. Taking damage increases all damage and reduces damage. So if nothing else, if I get hit, I deal more damage. It's at the bottom because I have to get hit in order to proc it. And I'm not trying to get hit. This one is also a random drop. I've gotten it, and it's good with like machine guns. If you have a high reload speed on a weapons, and you can find a gap to stand still and reload, it's just so nice. Reload speed, reduce recoil, fire rate increase when you're standing still. Why not? If I have it, nothing else, and I'll put it actually as like higher utility than those guys because like actually I can find ways to stand still for 1.5 seconds. This one, while Bulwark is active. So, obviously useful in combination. You have damage to everything and haste. That has damage for 20%. That has damage for 20% while a shield is active, while a status effect is active. You can have Bulwark active more often than a status effect. And you get haste. It goes right in between these two right here. Jester's Bell, very easy to get. Very, very easy to get. And it's a very useful mod. Pop a mod, you get... Okay, so first off, casting speed is up by 35%. That's big. On some of these classes, it's super big. Because there's actually, like, if you pop Hotshot, by the time you come down, while you're in your animation, you're completely stuck. You can't dodge. You have to wait for it. This reduces the cooldown, reduces those recovery frames. Same thing with casting a skill. And it increases all damage by popping a mod or skill. So if you have like the engineer and you throw this down, your gun gets 20% more damage. That's kind of huge. So really good. And it's free. All I gotta do is clap to the guy. Please tell me more. Okay, so once again, while his shield is active, 25% mod damage. That's okay. So your mod, so if you do like heal, I do hot shot, I get 25% more damage out of that. That's kind of nice. So cool. But by itself, no. Look, the other part. Generate 15% additional mod power. Generating more mod power, and you know what that means? You're cycling through those mods. And for that, I say it has higher utility than damage. But it has to have a shield. And if you have it, beautiful. Alright. Curry Charm. Someone tell me that this isn't bugged. If you are watching this and you see the Curry Charm, please tell me that the bird isn't bugged. I cannot get this bird to move. I've killed everything. I've gone to the next stage or next level, killed everything. I've come back. It hasn't done anything. I've killed it. I've done other lands. I've come back. It still sits there. It's completely useless. It's still useless, but it's even more useless that I can't get it. I can't even glitch it. Anyways, this one's given to you by the Lemire. This is Lemire Censor. After you've exhausted all of his dialogues, which is kind of cool. It increases mod duration by 15%, but it increases the cost of it. And for that one reason alone, negatory. I need it to have more mods. So that's a big negative from me. All right, Leto's Amulet. We're just going to skip the Legacy Protocol for a second. Leto's Amulet, whatever it is, reduces encumbrance and stamina cost by 30%. Very good. You can lower your weight class, lower how much stamina it takes to burn, and you can buy it for like 1,000 from Reggie, so it is a little expensive. This is a very useful one, and it might be more useful. Is it more useful than this one? Because it gives you stamina cost, and it reduces your encumbrance. Now remember, if you're better than that one, I would call you a top tier. And I don't see Leto's being a top tier because not every you don't need to reduce encumbrance, but the reduced stamina cost is huge. Increased damage, stamina. It's really almost no different from this one, but this one has stamina regen. This one doesn't have stamina regen. Uh, I'll keep it there. I feel good about it there, mainly because there's no stamina regen. It just cuts your cost of it. So that's fine. Okay, Legacy Amulet. Where are you? Lower skill cooldown by 30%. Oh my goodness. It is so freaking good. This is super top tier. It's so good. It How do I feel about that? Engineer busted, medic busted, gunslinger busted, hunter, and literally everything with a skill that you can use except for maybe like challenger busted or alchemist busted. It's so good. Increased skill duration by 25%. Busted. Right? Oh my god, it's so good. I might put it up here because you're always going to have your skills at this point. And that with oh god, and it's so many classes that could use it. It's so good. All right, next up. Dun-dun-dun. Let's do it. Matriarch's Insignia. Geisha, very easy to get. You got to get a ring, got to defeat an elite, got to pop a Dora, I believe. Increases melee damage by 35, and then it restores stamina if you hit those melee, so you might think it's really good. If you have nothing else, it is definitely good. I would say it's not as good as like this one right here, because it once again it relies on melee damage, and that's about what's going on here. It might be, it's actually, this one's good because of melee. I would put, this is actually how I would order it. Definitely better than this one, and not as good as that one. Cool. Next up, Navigator's Pendant. Interesting. This one is, you get the pendant from right before you get to Astropath. But when you get the pendant, you have to bring it to Talratha. He has to eat you. We're going to do that anyways. And that's what's going to be granted to you. Now, I want you to think about this. The only way to get the Navigator's Pendant is by having the Rusted Navigator's Pendant. And the only way to get that is by having Talratha, or the Astropath. You have to have Talratha as well. You're not going to fight the Astropath if you have Talratha. The Astropath is the second fight of the fights on the main quest to like on the Seeker's Rest against Shahala. Against Talratha, you only have to fight one boss. That's the Primogenitor, or it's the Abomination. You're guaranteed to only have one of those two people and only one fight before you get to Talratha. So, in order to get the Rusted Navigator's Pendant, you have to find the Astropath's Respite as a level. Then you have to go through the level, and then you have to collect it, and then go all the way back to the beginning. Or you can just hit a World Stone and go back. But you have to go through an entire level, so there's so much risk, especially with those narrow pathways that you can easily fall off. I've done it several times, but it's 25 health, 25 stamina, negative 10 armor encumbrance, making it one of the best amulets in the entire game. It is so very good that like I might put it above the stopwatch actually, because with that extra 25 stamina, you might not need. No, the stamina regen is just super powerful. There's just very few things for stamina regen. If it didn't have the stamina regen, I'd definitely put this above it. It's so good. But there's so much extra you have to do to get it. But if you get it, you put it on and you keep it, unless you have whatever is above it. So do it. Okay. Neck bone necklace. It's in the feast event, and for that reason alone, never useful. Necklace of Flowing Life is honestly really easy to get. You gotta have the Cathedral of Omens, I believe. It's hidden behind an illusion. Let's see. Is it? No, it's not. It's it's another one. It's hidden behind a wall. There's like a sphinx, and you have to crouch in order to get through it. But there's also a couple rings. Even though you get this, I don't use it. I don't use it. It's worthless. Necklace of Supremacy. Rewarded to the player after killing the Lemire Root Nexus boss before killing any enemies it summons. With hardcore new character, especially in Apocalypse, this is impossible. Which means we are going to put it into a new tier. Oh my god, I didn't show you this, did I? This is going to go into the black tier, representing death. Oh no, that's actually going to be red. This tier is going to represent death, because it's the only way to get it is by dying. This is my impossible. Why is that text white? Can I not change it to anything else? I guess not. So we're gonna go white then. This is impossible to get. Moving on. Nightmare Special. You can buy it. I never buy it. Useless. Nightweaver's Grudge. So you're like 20% crit chance. You get haste. I say useless. Don't care about crit chance or haste. Nimue's Ribbon. Increased relic healing effectiveness by 50%. Cool. Activating a relic grants haste. Cool. You can craft it by Nimue, but what do you need to craft it is always the question. And Remnant 2, or Extra Life, is having an issue with the internet. This is crazy. Let's pull it up on my phone, because maybe it's my internet. My internet always goes out. Thank you, Spectrum. And we are looking at, this is a shame that this is happening. I have such good internet too. So I'll open up, while I'm opening up, I'll keep going on to the next ones. But I'm telling you, I never use it, but I see its value. But unless we find out that we have to craft it, and it takes something ridiculous to craft it. And I think the website is just down. Because even my phone, which is connected to Wi-Fi, having an issue getting it to open. So we're going to open up another one. But it's not going to tell us how to do it. Okay, we're just going to move on. Okay, One-Eyed Joker Idol. I get there. It's part of the quest line. You have to defeat something. It can be kind of tricky. With that being said, I don't use it. It's in the Beatific Palace. There's the Joker. He has like the cards, and they turn. And you have to, and they flip. Whatever. I never get it. It's not even worth your time because you have to neutral backdash, and then the card will absorb damage, but it gives you crit chance. But the neutral backdash costs 30% additional stamina. Not even worth it, right? This one is impossible to get. I don't even have to know why, but you have to craft it with 2 different rings that require you to do 2 different runs in order to grab and to combine. So, can't get it. Onyx Pendulum. Buy it from Reggie. Firearm damage adds stack, which increase the damage of stowed firearms. So as long as you deal damage, it increases the damage of your stowed firearm. Once again, easy to get. I never buy it. I see its value. It's probably closer to like here though. This one is the participation medal. I see it. You have, what does it say? You have to what? It says right there. Boom. Impossible to get on hardcore. Because you die, it's over. Cool. Next up. Range fighter. Kill an enemy, gain damage. Useless. Ravager's Mark is really easy to get. You get to the Ravager and you shoot the doe. Get a free boss kill. But if they're bleeding, you gain increased damage guaranteed. But they have to be bleeding. This is only useful in combination because it's completely free. It's bottom of the barrel for useful though. You have to have a dog or a pipe bomb for it to work. Plain and simple. But if you have a dog and you got this, useful to an extent. 20% damage. Then it goes to 30% when it gets to a particular health, which is 50%. Beautiful. Okay, so you have the Eternal Empress, which is the red throne, the ornate lockbox. You have to find it. It's very easy to find. That's along the main path. Increases relic healing effectiveness, and it doubles it when you are below 50%. So if you're below 50%, you have this on, you pop a relic, you're basically healing like 60. Let's see, it says really effectiveness by 30, right? So let's do the math. Mod shots steal 35% health back, right? Or maybe it's a flat 35. Let's go with the flat. Flat's worse than percent, right? Flat 35. It gives you increased effectiveness by 30%, or when you're below 50, 60%. So what's 60% of 35? 180. 6 times 5 is 30. So that's like 21. You get an additional 21. 21, 35 gives you 56. So if you're below 50%, you're getting more than 50% of your health back. Big utility. But you have to use, you know it, a relic. So we like healing efficiency, but it's useful, and I will use it if nothing else. And I would put it more so, like, I would put it more here than anything. I'd rather have like the reloading, for example, than the increased relic effectiveness. Okay, Rusted Navigator's Pendant, if you get it. Boom. 20 health, 20 stamina, negative 15 armor encumbrance. Beautiful. Right below it. Next up, we have the Camouflage. The direct damage taken from enemies is reduced by 60%. But it increases damage, and it's a side event. I don't even see its value. Scavenger's Bauble is funny to me because it just increases your scrap pickups, right, by 50%, but it automatically picks up the rest. It's fun if nothing else. I'll use it, right, and it's fun, so I'll put it there. It's cool. This one I don't even see its value because it like swaps between physical and elemental, so it's always swapping. So, like, I guess it's useful if you have, like, the Spitfire once again. Or if you've popped a mod, but it's only useful if something has both physical and elemental damage. So it would be nice to have another gun with that. Maybe a gun that does more elemental damage than it does physical damage, and I could get more use out of this. I don't know. This one's very iffy to me. It'd be cool actually if you could do like every 15 seconds it would swap. That would be interesting. But every 5 seconds is way too much. It's way too much. You never really feel like you're getting an effect out of it. You are, but you're not. Apparently, Overloaded is currently bugged. I expect it to be fixed. However, this is so useful in combination with shock damage. This one is useful with status elements, so if I have it, it's still getting 20% increase. So I get that 20% increase, I get that 50% increase. This is only useful for shock. This is useful for all elemental damage, so I'm going to say more utility that way, but it's really good. And if you pick this up, you get a free elite fight. Yes, we like that. And it's an easy one if you get good at the fight. We're almost done, ladies and gentlemen. We have the Silver Ribbon, increases skill damage by 25%, activating the skill. We'll put that one right below this one. Or right above it. Because, like, Engineer, Gunslinger is really good with this. Like, really good with this. And it grants haste, so it gives you reload speed, too. Which is super awesome. Cool. The Sinister Totem. This one confuses me, but I know what it does. By refreshing a status effect, it increases damage. I'll use it if nothing else. And I would rather have... I think I'd rather have all of that, than this one. Alright, keep going. The Soul Anchor, crafted at the Blood Moon Altar, costs resources. Summoning increases all damage dealt by. I don't see its value. I don't see, once again, if it's all damage, I don't really want to do that, especially if I have to pay for a Blood Moon using my Blood Moon essence, which it's like 8 or 10 of them, and that's like 4 ammo boxes right there, or 4 pipe bombs. I'd rather have the pipe bombs, truly. Okay, this one, Spirit Wisp, you have to complete an event, and I don't see the value in that event. Too risky, too confined, too many things can go wrong. The Stalker's Band, this one's going to get me in trouble, because this one provides a 15% damage increase. This one gives you a 10% ranged damage. It doubles if like you catch them off guard, so that's nice, especially like a sniper rifle. But like it's a flat 10%, right? And like, well, what about this one? This one, the Ankh power you only get if you get to the like last 4 fights, right? You can get this one at any point in Yeisha, and you can use it for the rest of whatever until something better comes along. Like, what's my brain saying? Oh, what's better? And that's like right here. Like, honestly, it's good. It's really good. This one you have to proc with mods, right? So what if I just want to not use, like, I'm hitting more things probably without activating mods and skills, which gives me more utility and value, more mileage out of the Stalkers brand. Yes, that one right there. Okay, Talisman of the Sun, only useful in combination, and it's probably down here. It's the same. These two are the exact same. One's for fire, one's for electricity. That's how you put it, right? And it's an injectable that's free. Okay, we're coming up to the toxic release valve. In order to get this, you have to get the dormant Nerudian facility. You know you get it. You can absolutely predict it with 100% accuracy. You get to the custodian, you go down that path, you take the elevator down. When you get down, you see like an entrance to like these purple things, and there's 3 circles. There's 3 circles, right? The one when you walk in, there's one in the middle, one on the right, and one on the left. Okay? One on the left, if it's open, if it has nothing in it, that's the dormant Nerudian facility. There's not an override, if there's not a memory core pin in there, you have the dormant Nerudian facility. You can tell which land is the dormant Nerudian facility, the DNF, because when you go down the elevator, which you have to go down an elevator to get to, it's an open area that you have to take a left. And when you take a left, there's like these bugs, they shoot things at you. There's always 2 of these mechanical bots, drones flying around. It's very easy to identify. Then you have to complete the mission in under 5 minutes. Super simple. I just run. Master that level. You just run through it. You get a free purple and blue sometimes too. Sometimes you can get both, right? Sometimes you don't get either. Most of the time you get at least one, so you're going to get another ring or another trait point. Fall down, go around, turn everything off. There's 2 boxes up there, 3 loot boxes. Now, here's what's tricky. You have to fight a drone, an aberration of the drone. If it hits you in Apocalypse with its laser beams, it's an instant KO. But you have pillars. Now, I would say I have fought this thing probably 20 to 30 times total. I have only died twice. Only twice. But the more I fight it, the less likely I am to die. You get the toxic release valve after you defeat it, which means you get all the resources from defeating an aberration. You spawn back in, go to the beginning of the level. This provides an AoE of acid damage. So it's busted in the labyrinth. If you have this in the labyrinth, you will never lose unless you just get smashed by a cube. Awesome. It's great on the it's great on anything with that's like got stone, the corruptor. This is the corruptor's weakness. This destroys the puppet. You don't even have to shoot the puppet, honestly. This does all the work for you. And then in the future, like in Root Earth, it's just so nice when you're surrounded by enemies. You press it and it staggers everything. Guys, there's just something to say about the ability to stagger in this game being so useful. There's really not words for it. And it is because of this. This might come as a shocker to you all. But in my opinion, this is the best amulet in the game. It's a cheat code, truly. And it's almost to the point of it's like the concoctions, the brews are almost to the point of the toxic release valve. It's very close. Like this 1 and 2 is like the difference between like Tom Brady and regular season Peyton Manning. I'm sorry to use sports. Okay, the Twisted Idol increases armor effectiveness and reduces encumbrance by 15. So that gives you the ability to light to medium roll, and it gives you DR, which makes it useful always. I would say it's right up here with this one. It's very good, and you can buy it. It doesn't really cost you anything other than money. This one, terrible. Even when I get it, I hate having it. I turn it off. I have to proc it by having health below 50. That's so dangerous. Why would I want that in hardcore mode? Okay, this one threw me for a loop. I originally had this as extremely useful or very useful. Who doesn't want increased reload speeds? And you basically have infinite ammo because reloads only require 50% of the magazine from reserves to fully reload. So you can basically be getting magazine. Like if you have 1 bullet back, you can reload it and it will give you half of the magazine back, right? It's kind of crazy how this works. But it costs hardened iron and a lot of it. And if you're going to defeat hardcore mode, in order to get hardened iron, your level has to get up to a certain level. Like it has to be like 15 or something. I don't even know. You know why? Because I never get to that level. I don't think I've ever gotten hardened iron on any one of my hardcore runs ever. Because I don't get to the boss and then go farm the other lands to overpower myself, which you can do. But I don't got the time for it, right? I just want to defeat it. I can do it. But it costs so much. So I'm going to say this. Never use it, ever. But I see so much value in it. Now we have the weightless weight and the whispering marble. Oh my goodness, the weight just increases your movement speed for every 5 points of encumbrance. And it reduces the stamina cost. Okay. Movement and stamina because I'm over encumbered, which most of the loadouts don't make you over encumbered. I'm sorry, I don't really like this one. I don't even really see value in it. And the last one, ladies and gentlemen, Whispering Marble. How how divine. Providential is the best word here. That this is our last amulet, the Whispering Marble, which looks like a face. 3 stacks of bulwark guaranteed. That's 7 plus 6 plus 5, which is 18% damage reduction. Already one of the best because of DR. Then, for every stack of bulwark you have, you get 3% damage increase. So you get 18% damage reduction and 9% damage increase. Rip. You put on the dry clay ring with it. That's 4 stacks of bulwark, 12 damage, and then the clay ring gives you more damage based off of how much damage reduction you have. And then let's say you get the Guardian's ring. Oh my god, this ring and it's so good by it, or this amulet's so good by itself, and then it's even better with combinations. And then you put it with like the Challenger class. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Which I think the Challenger class is the best class for hardcore. Next to Engineer. I had you there for a second. With that being said, this is the third best amulet in the game. Better than all those other ones. That's crazy. I know. But welcome to my TED Talk. Or welcome to the talk. This is the Gabs Talk. This is my final list. This is it. This is my amulet tier list. We're going to save this. Actually, we'll just download that. We'll open it up. We'll put it up on the screen. This, ladies and gentlemen, is my final tier list for the amulet. So if you're like me, sometimes you see a tier list, you just go to the end. Hey, welcome everybody. Click that like, click that subscribe. Let me know. Help me out. This is a channel. I love Remnant. This is my amulets tier list for hardcore mode only. For nothing else. If you're interested in seeing why I put that particular amulet there, just go back and rewind. I went through alphabetical order. You can get its name. You can kind of figure out where to go from there. There are a lot of top tier amulets compared to the very useful. Look at that. That's kind of crazy, right? It's very like polarizing in a way. You're either like very good, someone are like close to that, or you're just not good at all. But these things are meant to be, I think, game changing and playstyle changing, as opposed to rings are supposed to be like beneficial across the spectrum. These do have like that spectrum as you see, but these really do have an impact on your game. If you get any of the top tiers, you have a what I call a blessed run. Even getting the Stalker's Band is one of my favorite ones to get, as well as if this one comes up, I'll put that one on as well. Well, with that being said, if you have any questions or comments or concerns, if you know something I don't, put it in the comments section. Let me know what's up. I appreciate you all. Take care. Happy hunting. Good luck.